Ever wished you could just, like, zip back in time, see the pyramids being built, Or maybe you're more the kind of person who'd rather get a glimpse of the future, flying cars and all that. Well, guess what? Today, we're going all in on time travel.
Buckle up.
We're talking full-on deep dive into all those mind-bending questions you guys sent in. Is time travel actually possible? What would happen if we, like, messed with the space-time continuum? Don't worry, we've got you covered. We dug into articles, theories, those head-scratching paradoxes, all to get you up to speed.
And let me tell you, the line between science fiction and real-world physics, yeah, that gets real blurry real fast when you start talking time travel.
Right. It's like 1 minute you're picturing Marty McFly in that DeLorean, and the next you're trying to wrap your head around Einstein and relativity.
Speaking of which,
Oh, here we go.
that's actually a good place to start, because that's where things get really interesting. See, one of the most mind-blowing things about Einstein's work is this concept called time dilation.
Gondolation.
Time dilation. It basically means time isn't the same for everyone, everywhere. It's relative. The faster you move through space, the slower time moves for you, compared to, say, someone standing still.
Okay, gotta admit, that sounds a little out there. Like, how does that even play out in the real world?
So imagine for a second you've got two identical clocks, right?
Right, 2 clocks. Got it.
You leave one here on Earth, totally normal, and then you put the other one on a spaceship. And not just any spaceship. This one's zooming off at, like, nearly the speed of light. Einstein's theory, it tells us that time on that spaceship, it would actually slow down compared to the clock back here on Earth.
Wait, so what you're saying is, if I hopped on that spaceship, just a quick joyride, I'd come back and everyone I know would be older.
Think of it like a one-way ticket to a younger you. You'd age slower because you're experiencing less time.
That's wild.
It's not exactly the time hopping we see in movies, but it's like taking a peek into the future. At least your future.
Mind officially blown. Okay, so traveling to the future, even if it's in this limited way, that might actually be possible. But what about going back in time? Is that where we cross over into, like, pure fantasy land?
Going back in time, that's where things get seriously complex. Time dilation, that's a proven thing, we can observe it. But backward time travel, whole other ballgame.
Yeah.
We're talking about diving into some seriously wild concepts here. Wormholes, closed time-like curves, things like that.
Okay, I gotta be honest. Those sound like they came straight out of a sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
Before we go down that rabbit hole, can you, like, give me a quick breakdown of what those even are?
Okay, so picture space-time like a giant sheet of paper, right?
Okay, got it. Space-time, sheet of paper.
Now imagine folding that sheet, so 2 points that are really far apart, they touch.
Okay.
A wormhole, that's like a shortcut tunnel between those points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we could find one, or even create one, it might let us travel across huge distances, maybe even backward through time.
All right. I think I'm with you on the whole wormhole thing, but closed time-like curves. I'm not even going to pretend I understand what that means.
Think of it this way. A closed time-like curve is kind of like you're drawing a loop on that sheet of space-time. If you hopped on that loop and traveled along it, it could, theoretically, bring you back to an earlier point on that same loop.
So you're saying if we could somehow make one of these time loops, or find one, we could actually travel back in time?
That's the theory. But, and this is a big but, there are some major hurdles. We're talking about controlling forces and energies beyond anything we can currently wrap our heads around, let alone actually manipulate.
Let's say, just for fun, that we figured out time travel. To the future, back to the past, whatever. What would that even mean for us? It can't just be about sightseeing, right?
You're absolutely right. The implications, they're mind-blowing. It leads to a pretty crucial question, I think. Even if time travel were possible, should we even try?
I think I see where you're going with this. It's not all fun and games like in the movies. There had to be some serious risks involved.
Oh, exactly.
Uh-huh.
We're not just talking about changing the past. We're talking about potentially unraveling the very fabric of cause and effect.
Okay, you officially lost me at unraveling the very fabric of cause and effect. Can you, like, give me an example? What's the worst that could happen?
Okay, so imagine this. You go back in time, right, and you accidentally, totally by accident, step on a butterfly.
A butterfly.
Seems harmless enough, right?
Yeah.
But then you got to think about the ripple effects. That one tiny action, it could change the whole ecosystem, alter the course of evolution, maybe even erase your existence from the timeline.
Whoa. Okay, you're making me a little nervous now. It's like those what-if history documentaries. What if Rome never fell? What if that one battle had gone the other way?
It's exactly like that, except with time travel, those what-ifs, they become very real and potentially terrifying possibilities.
And that's not even taking into account the paradoxes, like the grandfather paradox. You go back in time, you accidentally prevent your own birth.
Mm.
How do physicists even explain that?
Well, there's this theory that paradoxes, they just can't happen. It suggests that there's some fundamental law of the universe that would actually prevent us from doing anything that would contradict our own existence.
So, like, the universe has this built-in safety net to stop us from messing things up too badly.
Right. Another theory out there, it proposes that instead of actually changing the past, you'd be creating a whole new timeline, a separate branch of reality, so to speak. Your actions, they wouldn't erase your original timeline, they'd just kind of splinter off into an alternate universe.
Hold on, are we talking about multiple universes now? Like a whole multiverse where every little decision creates a new timeline?
That's the idea. It sounds crazy, right? But it's a concept that a lot of physicists take very seriously when they're exploring these possibilities of time travel. It's a lot. It's a lot to wrap your head around. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that we do figure it out. We crack the code on time travel. Should we even go there? What about the ethics of all this?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We can sit here and talk about the possibilities all day, but the ethical implications, that's a whole other can of worms.
It's like we're wading into some deep philosophical territory here. Where do you even begin to unpack the ethics of, like, controlling something as fundamental as time? It's like, we've got the universe's remote control, but we don't even know what channels are on it.
And we definitely don't want to be pushing buttons willy-nilly. The chance of things going sideways, huge.
Like, imagine someone goes back in time and decides to, rewrite history a little. For their own benefit, of course.
Exactly. Suddenly you've got dictators popping up out of nowhere,
Yeah.
timelines getting tangled.
And that's even if we ignore the bad guys. What about just, like, messing things up by accident? Even with the best intentions in the world, who's to say we wouldn't make things worse? It really makes you think about that whole free will versus determinism thing, doesn't it?
No, here we go, down the rabbit hole.
If we can travel through time, does that mean the future is already decided? Do our choices even matter?
Okay, my brain is officially fried. Maybe we should just stick to, like, daydreaming about time travel instead of actually trying to, make it happen.
Perhaps. But let's say, just for fun, you had the chance. One time travel trip. Would you go to the past or the future?
Ooh, that is a tough one. Part of me, it would be amazing to see some big historical event firsthand. The signing of the Declaration of Independence, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Or like seeing a Shakespeare play at the Globe Theater back in the day. That'd be incredible.
To actually be there for those moments in history definitely beats reading about it in a textbook.
Right. But then again, the future. That's
Yeah.
got to hold some appeal, Imagine seeing the tech they come up with 1,000 years from now. Colonies on Mars, maybe?
Flying cars. Or what if we've made contact with aliens by then? Who knows? But gotta remember the downsides, too. What if we peek into the future and it's all like dystopian wasteland? Climate change, war, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, yeah, that's not a fun thought. Maybe it's better to stay in the dark about that one. At least with the past, we kind of know what we're getting into.
And yet the past is just as full of mysteries. If you really think about it, we only see it through the lens of, well, us, our current understanding.
So true. Who knows how different things really were back then?
Yeah.
The more we talk about time travel, the more I realize how much we don't know. It's kind of exhilarating, but also kind of terrifying.
That's the beauty of it, though, isn't it? Time travel, all the what-ifs and paradoxes, it forces us to confront the unknown, makes us question reality itself.
Well, there you have it. We went from Einstein's theories to wormholes, alternate timelines, even the ethics of it all. And I think it's safe to say my brain is officially overloaded.
We definitely covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. Who knows, maybe someday someone will dig up this recording and they'll figure it all out.
You'll probably be laughing at us back here in 2024, wondering how we ever got anything done with such limited knowledge.
Hey, that's the fun of exploration, right? Always something new to discover.
Absolutely. So tell us, what do you think? Is time travel pure science fiction? Or could it be in our future? And if it is, should we even try to control it?
Leave us a comment below. Let us know your thoughts.
And join us next time for another deep dive into a topic that's sure to blow your mind.